Good afternoon, everyone. What an incredible honor it is to be in a room full of so many accomplished women and, yes, a few brave men who I've seen throughout the room. When Judith asked me to introduce our next award recipient, Cecile Richards of Planned Parenthood, I just almost fell over thinking what an honor it was. And I have to say, I thought back to a very early endorsement that my mother gave of Planned Parenthood and the wonderful work that it does. Just to tell you a little bit about where I came from. My mother was an only child. She got married and she had 10 kids. I guess she had a little help from my father. I should give a little shout out to him as well. They had 4 boys and then 6 girls. And I know, God rest her soul. I beg her forgiveness every day. But I remember when the girls, and there were 4 of us that were within a year of each other, so one Thanksgiving dinner where all of us came back from college, and we were sitting around the big dining room table, and my sister, the one above me, she's a nurse, so I guess this is hence where the question came from. She looked down the table and said, in the middle of dinner, "Mom, what kind of birth control did you use?" I guess, needless to say, the room went silent, the forks stopped, everyone looked, and my mother, without skipping a beat, said, "The rhythm method, honey, and I wouldn't recommend it." So, I can't think of a better endorsement of Planned Parenthood and the wonderful things that Planned Parenthood does. It is my distinguished honor to present an award and to introduce a woman who has been a nearly unrivaled leader in the fight for equality, our rights, healthy families, and progressive politics in our country for the last few decades. I know firsthand what she means to women candidates for office and to our efforts to break the glass ceiling that holds down so much opportunity and power in our political system. The woman I'm talking about is no stranger to anyone in this room. She is Cecile Richards, the president of Planned Parenthood and lifelong activist and advocate for social justice and healthy families. As president of Planned Parenthood Federation of America and the Planned Parenthood Action Fund, Cecile leads a national organization that works for a healthier and safer world for women and teens. In its nearly 100 years, Planned Parenthood has grown to become the nation's foremost provider of sexual and reproductive health care and sex education, and our country's largest advocacy organization for our health and rights. Every year, through nearly 800 health centers nationwide, under Cecile's leadership, Planned Parenthood provides family planning and reproductive and sexual health care services to nearly 3 million people, and sex education to more than 1.1 million people. Since joining Planned Parenthood in 2006, Cecile has expanded the organization's advocacy for access to health care and ensured that Planned Parenthood played a pivotal role in shaping health care coverage and services for women under the Affordable Care Act. In 2011, she led a nationwide campaign to preserve access to Planned Parenthood preventive care through federal programs. Under her leadership, the number of Planned Parenthood supporters has doubled, reaching a total of more than 6 million. Before joining Planned Parenthood, Cecile served as Deputy Chief of Staff for House Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi. She began her career organizing low-wage workers in the hotel, healthcare, and janitorial industries throughout California, Louisiana, and Texas. Those early days fighting for social justice to her days now as the preeminent political force for women's health and healthy families represent an arc of accomplishment that few women in our country can match. The words on this year's award speak precisely to why Cecile means so much to our democracy, to women in elected office like me who would not be here without her hard work, and to families in our country who are safer, healthier, and in a better position to succeed because of what she does. It reads, "In admiration of your steadfast commitment to defending and expanding the rights of American women, in recognition of your passionate defense of access to health care as a human right and the duty of a democratic society, for your pivotal role in shaping health care services for women under the Affordable Care Act, and your sustained advocacy of provisions that ensure improved preventive care and health care parity for women. In gratitude for your lifelong commitment to fighting for workers' rights and social justice. With deep respect for your hard work to mobilize a new generation of young people toward the goal of a healthier and safer world for women. With heartfelt appreciation that through your example, the legacy of the bold leadership of Eleanor Roosevelt will continue to inspire new generations of progressive women activists. Now let it be known that Cecile Richards is hereby presented the Champion of Democracy Award by the Board of Directors of the Eleanor Roosevelt Legacy Committee. Please join me in giving a warm welcome and congratulations to Cecile Richards.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Thank you, Kathleen, for that great endorsement of Planned Parenthood. I guess we're all here because of our moms, right? And on that note, actually, I just want to acknowledge that everything I do is because of my mom, Governor Ann Richards, who fought those fights back then and wouldn't believe that we're doing this again. Before I just make a couple remarks, I want to actually, it's not easy to give a lunch for 700 people. So will you please give a round of applause to the servers who served us here today thank you. It's an incredible honor to be here with Maria Nera, who, so I want to say, as someone who had 2 kids graduate from the New York public school systems, thank you for the New York public schools and what a fabulous job they do. And of course, my friend, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, who has, she didn't miss a beat when she hit the United States Senate. An incredible advocate for all of you and all of us. So fantastic. Your work here, of course, at Eleanor's Legacy is so important. We've talked about it. If I started naming names, you've brought so many important people into office. And as Judith said, I have to thank you because it's been quite a year at Planned Parenthood, actually. Although I was looking, of course, for my favorite Eleanor Roosevelt quote, so I'll just say one of my favorites is, she said, "I've spent many years of my life in opposition, and I rather like the role." You know? So that's kind of how it feels at Planned Parenthood. So I'm really here today to thank you on behalf of the thousands of Planned Parenthood doctors and clinicians and staff who provide health care to 3 million patients each year, no matter what. And I'm proud to say that despite a Tea Party Congress and the pickets and the protests, our doors are still open all across the United States of America, and always will be. And I know the folks who really do the hard work, who, although I love this story about, I was going to a luncheon the other day, actually with, two of my CEO colleagues are here today, Joanne Smith and Joan Mallon, and I want to thank them for their courageous work. We were at a lunch the other day, actually, out on Long Island, and there were all these it was kind of out in the countryside at a country club, and there was these hideous protesters at with the big ugly signs and stuff out on the highway. And but I got into the luncheon, and I saw Joanne, and a woman with her said, I was so glad those protesters were there. I wasn't sure where to turn to get to the Planned Parenthood luncheon. So we got to thank our opponents for everything they do for us. But I will say, look, the work you're doing is so important. Obviously, everything's on the ballot this November, right? The right to safe and legal abortion, the right to birth control, the right to Planned Parenthood, because in Mitt Romney's words, he's going to get rid of that. So I also just want to say that I love my job. It's so important. But because of this election, I've actually taken a break from my day job at Planned Parenthood, and I'm spending the next 21 days on the road to re-elect Barack Obama President of the United States. So that's what we got to do. I think, so Here's the good news is the majority of voters in November are going to be women. We always are. 4 years ago, 10 million more women voted than men. And if we do our jobs, we're going to re-elect President Obama. We're going to send Kirsten Gillibrand back to the United States Senate, where she belongs. And one little bit of news you may not know up here in New York, it's really important. If we hustle and we do our job right, we're going to elect Tammy Baldwin and Mazie Hirono and Elizabeth Warren and Heidi Heitkamp and Shelley Berkeley to the United States Senate. And the Democratic caucus in the Senate is going to be 1/3 women, okay? That's real numbers. That's real numbers. So, but we've got a lot of work to do. I hit the road tomorrow for Ohio. I was pleased last week actually to be there for the debate in Kentucky officially in the spin room, and I just think Joe Biden did an amazing job for all of us standing up for women. But I want to say as my last plea to you, we got a lot of work to do, and we got 3 weeks to get it done. So if you're discouraged or if you're like fretting, turn off the TV, okay? Just turn it off, all right? You don't have to watch any more TV. All that matters now is that we get our folks out to vote. And if you don't have a state to go to, you don't have anything to do, call me, okay? You can come on the road with me. Because in the words of the late, great Nora Ephron, one of the most incredible friends to Planned Parenthood and friends to women, Nora said at Wellesley for the commencement, above all, be the heroine of your life, not the victim. So this November, we're going to be the heroines with all of you. Thank you so much for this award.